Notice how big it looks down here now that the water melts out of your house?
Yeah. Hey, Henry, what happened to your dad?
My dad got stuck in there.
He got stuck in there, did he?
Yeah.
I cannot believe that strap did not break.
You see how...
I thought it was...
What's up, guys? Just want to do a quick update. It's been a few weeks, but we've been working ideally once a day every week over the past 3 weeks or so. It's been getting nice out, so we've been spending more time up at Sam's property with riding and getting his property ready for him to move in there.
The 2x4 doesn't like that. You want whatever the pry bar on it? Where's that? Oh, bitch, gentlemen. Fuck, that was easy. That's how you do that. All right.
Major update over these past weeks is we went ahead and cut off the old shock mounts, and Sam had to beat those out. We have gone ahead and we put in new taller shock mounts, as we discussed before. The original shock mounts had to deal with the factory hood with the one piece. We had a little more height that we could get up, so we could get a little bump clearance out of the shocks. And at the same time, we decided to go ahead and take the bypass shocks off the rear and mount them up on the front, so that way when I get new bypasses for the rear, we'll be able to just go ahead and mount up these shocks up here in the front, and have bypasses front and rear. Pretty close. We moved the shocks in a little further on the beam. So it looks like, I would say, we probably have, I think we gained about 1.5 inches of overall travel. I think we're up to about 18 inches now, and I think our major limiting factor there is the wheelbase. We're only sitting at a 84-inch wheelbase, so I think with a extended wheelbase, I think you'd be able to get a little more travel out of just the 14-inch shock, coilover shock. But the big thing is we had to move these bump cans up probably a good 3 inches. So we cut that out, basically mounted a tube to this pad, put it up, slid that into the bump can, and that way we were able to, set the bump can height without having to mess with the angler a lot. And I think that's what we would do in the future, which seemed to work out pretty good. So yeah, about we think probably 2.5 to 3 inches more of up travel, which before we were on the bumps all the time, even though I had already shortened the bumps basically they're 4-inch bump cans. I had shortened them down to 2 inches already, but based on where it was sitting on the ride height, we didn't have a significant amount of up travel, so that should definitely help out a lot in that regard. I went ahead and so it's front and passenger and driver side mounts are both done, as well as or shock pockets on the beam. So that's the major fab in the front portion. Have to go through some radiator mounting, but I've been getting hit with delays on the radiator due to coronavirus stuff. The manufacturing has been shut down on where I was getting the radiator from, so I need to make a bit of a detour on that. Got the dash torn out of the truck. You can see, I think last time the switch pod hadn't been fabricated yet, so I got the switches for the auxiliaries, as well as like lighting and fuel pump and that jazz, as well as just a voltage readout and a USB charger, which pulled off of the old console that I had, as well as I got some AC vents mounted up in the top of the dash. Got the transpan mounted on the transmission and everything's painted, so that's all ready to be filled back up with fluid and ready to go back into the truck. We need to do some, either modify the dipstick or it might fit, as well as do the plumbing for the transmission when we get the, after it goes in for final thing, just plumbing between the tranny and the transcooler on the rear of the truck. We got the engine over here in the paint bay, basically. It's finally got a chance to clean up all the rust off of it, like you saw last time, all the surface rust on the iron block, and got a chance to prime it. It's been crazy weather. Be 70 one day, and then it'll be 30 the next, and sometimes it's rainy and humid, so just a typical Ohio weather right now. So once we get a nicer day, we'll be able to actually put an engine coat on that and close up that, and then that'll be ready to mate back up to the transmission and stuff that in for the final time. Next steps are going to be to finish up the firewall, patching the firewall around the AC plenum, the AC box, pull the AC box back out, and see if we can fix our little whoopsie from the last one where we caught the box on fire. As well as we finally fixed this wiper, which is part of the reason we actually cut the back of the firewall out, as well as for head clearance, so we can get the passenger wiper back, because it's useful in Michigan since it rains every once in a while, as well as start working on / finishing the wiring, both for the switches as well as just the main relay box. And I've spent some of this past week putting Deutsch connectors on the PCM outputs from the Chevy harness in order to connect into the dash. And then we need to do, hopefully we'll get the radiator soon and be able to do fabrication for the radiator. Then we can clean and paint everything in the engine bay. And I expect the next update we will have put the motor back in, as well as the trans, and then just be working on some touch-up stuff. So If you probably be a few weeks down the way, since we're starting to slow down because it's getting a little busier outside. But since the dunes have been closed, delayed another further month, I think we'll have plenty of time to get this all wrapped up and get up there this season. So stay tuned until the next update.